Hello, Melanie, and thank you for joining from Beyond Frequencies for the interview here today with me, Tayla, from Muses of Metal. It's a privilege to have you speaking with us today because I know we're very excited and we've had pre-listening on the album, which is fantastic. I'm so excited to get the review out into the public and also to be
really?
wow. So foremost, Beyond Frequencies have defined themselves, at least by genre, as heavy pop. This can be a risky move because rock and metal subcultures are traditionally resistant to anything labeled as pop or pop-like. So why did you choose this label for your music?
So first of all, hey Tayla, thank you so much for having me today. You just entered this interview with, I think, the biggest topic of all. Why heavy pop? We labeled it like that because for us, it fits the most to the music. I think that labeling your music or your sound and describing it by words is always like difficult. You will never get the right label. So if we would have labeled it solely metal, this clearly would have been wrong, I guess. So then it would be too soft somehow. If we said it is pop music, it's also wrong. Then it's way too rough, so people will switch out. And it is something in between. Music-wise, the rough riff of the guitars, the double kick is clearly metal. My voice, anything but screamo, not a classical opera voice, so it's a really pop voice. For us, it makes sense.
Personally, knowing the subculture within rock and heavy metal and all of the subgenres, like maybe around 100 at this point, the decision to run with the label heavy pop is very bold.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. How are Beyond Frequencies bridging the gap between the world of pop music and the world of heavy music?
Well, actually, we don't. So, I mean, you have to, when you're a newcomer, well, we are not newcomer like in sense as we are all musicians who've been in the industry for a while, but with Beyond Frequencies, we are a brand new act. So somehow you have to give yourself labels to describe your music before people get to listen to it, you know? And I think this whole labeling thing will get out of the way as soon as the people do have already something in mind how Beyond Frequencies sounds like, you know? So we don't occupy ourselves that much with that label. So.
Okay, I think that's more than fair enough because labels are just something which, like tags, aren't they? They're just little descriptor labels to attract people who might fit within that niche or have those tastes. With that said, you're combining two very different genres. Do you see any similarities or parallels between pop music and heavier rock and metal music?
Oh, there are a lot of parallels. I think with everything in songwriting or everything that goes with art, you know, it's always about experiencing and trying to, you know, overstep borders. I think once you set something, like there is a song written, you don't need to copy it again and again and again. So music evolves, and this has nothing to do with the genre. It happens in every genre. And I think like mixing and experimenting over your borders always helps, always expands like the experiencing of songwriting, you know.
Yeah, I can see that. I definitely think that there's a lot of potential for the music that you and Beyond Frequencies are releasing to, like I've said before, bridge a gap and maybe get into more radio-friendly spaces without fitting the traditional mold of such.
Yeah.
Do you think there's anything that heavy music can give back to the, say, mainstream foundation and sound, particularly found in those radio-friendly places and spaces?
Well, talking about radio-friendly, I mean, this is something that I am so far away from. I don't remember any band that I particularly like that has ever been on air. So, but I think like with the formats that we have these days, we are moving away from airplay, right? We are more related to playlists, to maybe also music videos on YouTube and stuff like that. So I think like every niche and every genre gets a better platform than it did before, because it is not limited to those gatekeepers holding the radio stations, you know, like the music program of the radio stations. So I actually do not care about radio friendly or not, because these days the field is so much wider, so much opener to everything, that it doesn't matter any longer, hopefully.
With that said, there are also certain structures within the streaming world, like Spotify playlist curators. Some of them even charge music, which is just another form of gatekeeping towards that. So is there a way on which we can shape the music business from the grassroots level up, that's not necessarily conforming to what gatekeepers within radio or even now the streaming world want?
Well, if I knew, I would be happy. So if you have any tips, tell me. Because I mean, we are an independent artist like so many others out there, and we don't have these connections to this, as you call them, also gatekeepers from curated playlists and everything. So if I knew, I would jump right into it, but I don't. So all you can do as an independent artist is to try to use social media, to use some marketing techniques, so maybe those gatekeepers that you don't know personally get somehow get to know your name and maybe listens to your music. But I don't know the secret how to get into this playlist, so I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, since you were last within the music industry, you were with Phonoflakes in 2013. Yeah. Yes. Okay. The music business has rapidly changed in the past 10 years, and I can imagine you coming back to the music industry and building from the ground up, that was quite a daunting prospect. So we've already said about how we just don't know what the future of the music industry or the music business will be like, but do you think that there might be a way that you can shape and carve your own path? And within that, do you think that streaming or physical media are important within that structure too?
Well, first part of the question, look, it has changed a lot since I've been gone, since I came back. It is a completely new world, and somehow I actually appreciate it. So you have to find your ways, and as I said, I'm not an expert, I'm a musician, so I just find this playground, and now I try to figure out how to make my way or our way as a group, you know. And I think like with everything in life, if you build up something, if you have a business or startup or whatever you do in life, all you can do is just go and carve in your name. And from one point, there is only one way, it's to grow, you know. And if you continually keep on going, you will grow eventually. How big and how fast, no one knows, you know. And talking about streaming and physical CDs or vinyl or whatever you do, I think that of course it will be streaming. It is already streaming. I mean, we don't even release our music physically any longer, so Beyond Frequencies does not exist on CDs or vinyl for the moment. But I see an opportunity there for maybe, you know, to make special fan packages and stuff like that, and to build up a closer relationship for those who really appreciate physical products still. Yeah, it's a combination, but it's clearly digital, it's clearly streaming. We cannot reverse time, so.
Yeah. Were there any lessons and experiences that you've taken forward from your time with Phonoflakes when re-emerging onto the music scene?
Yes, of course I did. Like with anything, I mean, every experience that you have had in life, you take with you, even if you don't want to, even then you still take it with you. You cannot get rid of it somehow, you know. I had to recharge my batteries quite a while. I thought I was done for good. If you had asked me like 5 years ago, I would have told you that I will never return. yeah, but somehow, you know, this is a process, and I am a songwriter. I always did songwriting also those years that was not active, you know. And at some point I was just like telling myself, no, I need to get this out of the system. I need to release them. And it went much quicker, you know, with my experience that I have from the past. It took only a year, you know, from like making the decision to go out again, to build a new band, to produce a record, to release it, until the release next week. Now it's only been 1 year. And if I had done that like 10 years ago, it would at least taken 2 or 3 years until I could have released an album, you know. So yeah, there's a lot I've taken with me from my past.
You stated that you didn't think that you would come back, and you thought that you were done after your previous stint in the music industry. What were the driving factors that brought you back to the world of music as an artist and a performer?
Yeah, as I said, I did not quit like entirely. I did still write songs, you know, and I cannot actually tell you what was the turning point that I decided for myself I need to release again, like to go public again with it. I cannot even tell you, but somehow it was like I felt a bit guilty about my songs, leaving them just like unused, you know. I don't know why, probably because I'm an artist, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that driving kick of the creative mind. You can't just keep it all in a box, because that box wants to be heard.
Yes, somehow, yes, absolutely.
In your break from the music industry, what other paths did you take? Did you make any new career choices or take on any new special hobbies, for example?
Hobbies, not so much, no. I worked within marketing. I actually also did when I was with Funnelflake. So this was like an on-off time that I had. But the last 7 years, or no, it's not 7 years, like 5 years, the last 5 years, I was working in marketing. And I do have the feeling when you watch our videos or when you follow us on the social medias that you somehow can tell that there is some marketing background going on.
Yeah, I could definitely tell, because the way you guys emerged onto social media was with like a triumphant, we are here, listen to us. And there's just so much that's like thought that's definitely gone into that. So I could definitely tell. It's impressive, to be honest, especially with the way that you guys have built a loyal fan base that keeps coming back in such a short amount of time.
Absolutely. Well, there I have to say something which was really, really surprising and overwhelming, really. At my time with Funnelflakes, Dave, our bassist, by the way, he was with Funnelflakes too, so who joined Beyond Frequencies now. We've been to Mexico. We've been twice to the US and once to Mexico and played concerts then back in the days. And we do have fans from that time still following us now to Beyond Frequencies. And this is just like overwhelming, something that I could have never predicted that this is going to happen after such a long time. So this helps a lot, of course.
It's beautiful that fans have stuck with you through that time and returned. It's great. So I can imagine coming back onto the scene was stressful in itself, let alone during a pandemic and global crisis. So how has operating during the pandemic taught you about connecting with fans and building a new fan base from the ground up when you don't have a grassroots team and local venues with which to access new fans and things?
Yes. This is a tough topic, really. I think like Corona is for all the musicians a tough topic, and for us, it changed everything. You know, initially we had planned to do like one video and then thereafter play some festivals in the summertime, you know, some fews, but as you said, to touch ground, to meet people and to connect this way. And more locally, actually, so like more in Switzerland and Germany maybe, So, and because of what happened, because of the pandemic, we just like, we cannot just sit around. We even considered like postpone the debut album, to postpone it for 1 year, but this somehow was not an option. So we started to do videos. As you can tell, there are now 5 instead of only 1 that was planned. And we actually already planned the 6th one at the moment. So we changed everything. We went completely digital, completely social, and that's what we did. If the pandemic wouldn't have happened, we would not have done this like in this extent. And this is how we reacted. And I think all the people around the world turned more into the digital world somehow. So it was kind of easy to connect. And yeah, and hopefully people stay also afterwards. So they don't forget about us.
I'm sure people will keep returning time and time again, especially after they did.
And especially at concerts then, hopefully one day.
Speaking of concerts, with the future of touring being so uncertain and the future of the music industry in general being uncertain, do you have any plans for the future? More like visions, I suppose, at this time. And is there anything that you would change and do differently when it comes to touring and live events?
Well, someday I think live concerts will return. I mean, this hopefully next year. If it's in 5 years, we don't know, but I mean, at one point life has to continue at one point, so let's keep fingers crossed. But back to your question. So we initially planned like to having our debut this October, and we are already in production for the 2nd release, which is planned to come up next year in autumn 2021. So, and in between, we wanted to play as much live as we can. Since we are a new act, it's not that easy. I mean, it's like good talk to say we'll play as much live as we can, but you need to get booked, you know. So what we are now going to do, we will do some online stuff. Thankfully, we got an invitation for an online festival. I cannot tell now what it is, but this is what we are going to do. So show that we are able to play live, and to be honest, it's even more forceful live. So it's a much more fun to listen to the music live. So this is what we are going to do, and broadcast it, stream it somehow, so people know what they can expect as soon as we hit the real stages again. Yeah, and give a little taste of, I'd say, live music in a box.
Yeah. Back to Beyond Frequencies, I read in the brief biography which talks about the band, and there's one particular part which caught my interest. It says, in the realm of frequencies, there will always exist something more. What is this something more to you, and in what shape does it exist? Materially, spiritually, or something else altogether?
I can only speak for myself, not for my bandmates. I don't know about them. I think like in the past there were, I don't know about you, but in the past you could read more about, you know, stuff like visualization, about everything has to do with energy and frequencies and stuff like that. So a really spiritual thing. And what we were a bit joking about all the time, without making jokes about this topic, but it was like, okay, if everything is energy and everything is on frequencies or is a frequencies, what is beyond? Just to drop that question into the room, that there might be even more that we are not even aware about, you know. So if you ask me what is it for me, I cannot answer. It's more like having this question of, is there something more or not, you know? So
okay, so it's both in a almost spiritual and cosmic sense, as well as sound waves, because I love the idea that there's so many implicit meanings to just the two words together.
Yeah, this is exactly was our intention with this band name. So to make you think a little bit. Also, when it comes to only the frequencies of music, also there, the whole experience is so much more, especially now, as you said. I mean, when you think about Beyond Frequencies, our band, then you don't only have the music in your ears, you saw videos, you maybe read some posts, it's so much more than just the frequency as such. So it has both. It has this very musical meaning beyond frequencies, that it is more, but it also has this maybe, I don't know, spiritual meaning, but don't touch too much of this topic.
Now for some more fun and interesting questions. On the light side.
Because those were all not so interesting, okay?
Nah, I joke. So I was wondering, who are you currently listening to? Do you have any favorite albums of 2020 so far?
Oh, favorite albums. I kind of like the Pearl Jam one, but was that in 2019? I don't remember. Just last week, I listened to Marilyn Manson's new one, which was recommended to me. I actually skipped it because the single did not catch me at all. So it was like somehow forgetting that there was a record out until someone told me, hey, or asked, what do you think of the album? So I gave it another listen, and I have to say, it's really cool. It's really, really cool. And not my favorite one, but one that I listened a lot to was the one of Corey Taylor that he just dropped. Very interesting.
Is it CMFT?
Yes, exactly. Or CM Corey motherfucking Taylor. Yes. CMFT. Yeah.
I have to admit, I tried to listen to it, but some of the songs felt very early 2000s to me.
Okay.
Which I suppose is the spirit of Corey Taylor. He's very good.
I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. So, but still, I think it's worth listening to it. So, but those are the ones that have come to my mind when I think of 2020. Yeah, but I have to say, Marilyn Manson really, really impressed me. I'm kind of happy that I gave it a second chance. So.
So aside from catching up with new music releases and being very busy with the launch of Beyond Frequencies, in your spare time, especially in the various lockdowns within Europe this year, have you taken up any new passions or interests?
Oh, that was boring if I say no. Not really. No, not really. I did not even start cooking or something. So I did write a lot of music. So I had this more, not really music, more about lyrics. I read a lot and did a lot of lyric stuff. Yeah, but no new hobbies, no.
Do you spend a lot of your time writing lyrics and ideas? And is that your main driving factor when you write music? Does it come from the lyrics for you?
It comes in phases. So first part of the question, it comes in phases. There are some weeks or months where I write a lot, like really, and it's mainly when I also read a lot. So it goes hand in hand. When I, have new stuff on my mind that gets me creative, and then it has to get out. Second part of the question, what is the main driver? I say in my case, yes, it is like 80% the main driver are the lyrics. So it mostly starts with the lyrics. But sometimes I also have like a melody in mind, or even I listen to a song that is really appealing to me, and there my brain somewhere goes off and does its own melodies. So I'd say it's 80% to 20%.
Now we're going on to our final part of the interview, where we finish up with a quickfire round of questions, which is just 5 short and sweet questions. The first is summer or winter?
Summer.
Okay. Cake or ice cream?
Ice cream, definitely.
CD or vinyl?
CD.
Is Pluto a planet?
Oh my God, don't ask me such questions. That looks stupid. I don't know. It's out there in the universe.
And the last one, what is your dream holiday destination?
Oh, I have so many. Probably Norway again. I am from Norway. I go to Norway that often, but I haven't been this year, so I'd say Norway.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for talking to us this evening. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you for having me.
I greatly implore our readers and watchers to check out the Beyond Frequencies debut album, Megalomania, which is released October 23rd. And without further ado, I hand over to you. Do you have any further things you'd like to say to our readers and watchers?
You said it all. Next week, so October 23rd, our album is coming out. We are so excited about this one. So please, please give it a listen. And what is even more important to us, give us some feedback. We like to hear what you think about our work. So yeah, this is what I would like to say.
Thank you very much.
So thank you for having me, and please stay all healthy, take care, and listen to good music.